When your daughter knows she's messed up, she may be flooded with shame. Shame says, I'm bad. Not just, I did something bad. They're calling themselves bad. If she believes your correction confirms her worst fear, that's she's a failure or even a disappointment. She's going to shut down to protect herself from feeling even worse. And here's some research for you. Dr. Brene Brown, she's my I'm her number one fan on shame resistance. She does her research on shame resistance. Research shows that adolescents who experience shame are more likely to disengage and withdraw, especially in parent-child conflict. Why does my daughter shut down when she's in trouble? You try to talk to her, correct her, or hold her accountable, and instead of respectful conversations, you get silence. Maybe an eye roll, or worse, a door slammed in your face. Well, let me reassure you that this happens often and not just for you. More importantly, there's a reason behind her shutdown, and it's not just defiance. So today, we're going to explore 5 research-backed reasons why your daughter emotionally checks out when she's in trouble, and 3 ways that you can bridge the gap and get through to her. So let's dive in. If you are frustrated with how to get your teenage daughter to open up to you because all you want is to connect with her as you once did, you're in the right place. Hey, I'm Jeannie Baldomero, a former rebellious teen, now mom of 3 young adults, educator, and the mom mentor, equipping you to create open communication with your girl so she can come to you about anything, even if she's scared. So grab your oat milk latte, breathe, and let's do this together. You're listening to this because your heart is breaking from the changes that are happening in your girl that is affecting your connection with her. Your once cuddly, talkative little girl is now growing up, but with the cost of silence, emotional bouts, and you get the short end of the stick. You fear these disconnections and challenges you're facing right now is affecting your relationship with her. And what will the future hold between the two of you? How will you get through this season without losing the closeness you once had and so desperately want? Mama, I want you to know you are not alone. As lonely as it may feel and almost embarrassing to share with even your closest friends about this because you feel like you're failing at connecting with her, this is common. It's a season. However, I know that you don't want to sit idle during this time. So here it is. This is what I want to tell you. That you can do hard things. This is a season of hard, but you will get through it by equipping yourself with the right tools to turn this all around. I invite you to explore what could be possible for you. Head to talktoyourteengirl.com right now. I want you to join me and let's equip you together so that you can relate and reestablish your connection with your girl. That's talktoyourteengirl.com. I was caught lying. Well, I lied a lot. But this particular time I'm talking about was when our neighbor who lived 3 houses from us knocked on the door informing my mom that his discovery at 1 a.m. Okay, I snuck out of the house when I was 13 years old and thought it was a smart idea to hang out at those big electrical boxes that you can use as a bench and just hang out there. Well, that's where we were hanging out. And that just happened to be 3 houses from my house. Thinking being outside, making a lot of noise wasn't going to get us noticed. So it was no surprise that our neighbor knew exactly who we were when he went to go check on all the noise in the middle of the night. I said I was sneaky, not smart. And as my mom confronted me, I instantly lied and insisted our neighbor was wrong. I then proceeded to shut down after being caught. My inclination when I shut down is really to run to my room and slam the door. I was very good at shutting people out. I refused to talk about it, and if they wouldn't let it be, I screamed if I was confronted. I think about this and why I felt so defensive and stacked up all these walls when I was caught. Maybe you're experiencing the same thing with your own daughter. Maybe you feel you can't get anywhere with her when she shuts down and that you're frustrated because all you want to know all you want to know is what she's thinking, and you just want her to open up so you can understand what's even going on, even when she got caught, why she's in trouble, right? You want to know what is going on in her brain, right? And yes, I know it's very emotional when shutdowns happen, so you're not alone. Today, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why she shuts down. Now, Mama, hear me with this. This is not an excuse for her behavior. This is not an excuse to say it's okay if she slams the door in your face or screams at the top of her voice. I'm not saying those behaviors are okay at all. They're actually pretty defiant, but I want you to understand where this is coming from. And if we have a deeper understanding of the reasons why these shutdowns happen, then maybe we can come in with more of an empathetic and compassionate tone and reaction and not maybe take it as personally as it seems, right? So this by no means excuses her behavior and choices to react, but this will help us allow to understand her a little bit better so that we can approach it in a different way, okay? So here are the 5 reasons why she shuts down. Number 1, and this is some of it's based on research. Okay, I did some research here. Number 1, her prefrontal cortex, this is the brain, isn't fully developed yet. I know I mentioned this before. Neuroscience tells us that the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for reasoning, impulse control, and understanding consequences, don't fully mature until she's around 25. So when your daughter is in trouble, her brain may feel attacked and overwhelmed. And instead of thinking clearly, she freezes, shuts down, or goes into flight or fight mode. Okay, that I instantly pictured myself when I was young back then. And that's exactly what I did. And this is really backed by science. According to Dr. Francis Jensen, the author of The Teenage Brain, teens are more reactive and less rational during emotionally stressed times because of the imbalance between the emotional limbic system and the still developing prefrontal cortex. There is an imbalance between the two. So literally, her reactions, she cannot help because she doesn't know any better. And literally, when you say you just don't know any better, she doesn't. She does not know better. Her brain has not developed until she's 25. And you'll probably see that shift in their 20s that they finally do. They have some sense. They can have a conversation without feeling confrontational, right? Number 2, the second reason, shame triggers silence. When your daughter knows she's messed up, she may be flooded with shame. Shame says, I'm bad. Not just, I did something bad. They're calling themselves bad. If she believes your correction confirms her worst fear, that's she's a failure or even a disappointment. She's going to shut down to protect herself from feeling even worse. And here's some research for you. Dr. Brene Brown, she's my I'm her number one fan on shame resistance. She does her research on shame resistance. Research shows that adolescents who experience shame are more likely to disengage and withdraw, especially in parent-child conflict. Okay. So she's just probably feeling shame. And how we approach her during that time, we have to just be more considerate, right? And I'll go over some tips on how we can bridge that gap. Third reason, she fears ruining the relationship. And you're probably thinking, well, what relationship? Well, the relationship that she knows between you and her. Even if she seems aloof, your daughter cares deeply about how you see her. She may think, if I tell the truth, she'll be mad at me forever. You might think this is like a little extreme, but again, remember, teenagers are a little extreme. Her silence is a misguided attempt to preserve the relationship, fearing that being honest or engaging might make things worse. Okay, so in her perspective, she's protecting your relationship. And this study, attachment theory research shows, okay, this is a study on attachment, that teens often shut down as a protective response when they perceive emotional threat to secure a bond. So they are protecting themselves from the relationship being broken, okay, when they shut down. Another reason, she's lacking the emotional vocabulary. That's no surprise because I think even some adults lack the emotional vocabulary to really verbalize what they're feeling, because if you were like me and grew up in a household where feelings weren't allowed and we were never able to, not never, weren't allowed to label them or even feel them, then she may be lacking the emotional vocabulary too. So teen girls are often navigating emotions. They don't even yet know the language to express them. They're just feeling them. They don't know what that is. She may want to explain herself or process her feelings, but doesn't have the tools yet. Okay. So instead of fumbling through words, she retreats in silence because she just doesn't know how to express it. And according to developmental psychology, Erik Erikson, stages of development, teens are in the identity versus role confusion stage. Okay. They're in the identity versus role confusion stage. They're trying to figure out who they are. And emotional expression is still part of that trial and error phase. And then the last reason, she feels like you're reacting, not listening. Sometimes moms rush into lecture mode, punishment, or a disappointed tone. I mean, I'm guilty of that. I know I am. Because that's just the mom in us, right? And we want to fix it. Even if your intentions are good, she may feel judged instead of heard. That's what we teach in Talk to Your Teen Girl framework. Responding so she feels heard and understood. And we teach you those steps on how to do that, what to consider, how to do that so that you can reach her and she knows you get her. So when that happens, her defenses go up and she emotionally shuts down. And research in family dynamics show that teens respond better when they feel heard before being corrected. Hence, that is what we teach in Talk to Your Teen Girl framework. Active listening builds openness. Reactionary correction builds wall. If you go on my website on raisingherconfidently.com, you'll find a quote posted in there by Mark Gregston. Truth with judgment pushes kids away. Truth with relationship draws them to you. And that is exactly the whole point. Making sure that she knows that you're listening and not reacting to her, right? That she knows you understand, that she feels heard, and that you see her side before you decide to share yours. So now that you know some of these reasons why she shuts down, and it's not necessarily defiance, although it comes across that way, based on the research that were backed on these reasons, that she could be in protection mode. She just lacks the vocabulary or way of expressing, and she's preserving herself during this delicate stage of teenhood. So how do we break this cycle? How do we break the cycle of feeling like she's being disrespectful, trying to reach, and so she doesn't shut down? How do we move from silence to connection? Well, I'm going to give you 3 tips to do that. 1, you have to create, not have to. Here's a suggestion. I recommend you create safety before correction. Instead of jumping into, why do you do this? Try leading with empathy. Say something like, I know you're probably feeling a lot right now. I want to understand before we figure out what to do. Right? This helps her lower her defense. Connection before correction isn't just a nice phrase. It's a strategy rooted in brain science. Second, model emotional regulation. Your daughter is watching how you respond under pressure. That's a lot of pressure, but if I know that my daughter's watching me and I have this expectation of her not shutting down, then I need to model what it is to be responding in a healthy way. How I respond to their siblings. How do I respond to my husband? How do I respond to my parents? How do I respond to my close friends? If you can stay calm, measured, and open, even when you're upset, maybe even regulating how you're feeling at that moment and expressing yourself like, hey, I need to take a moment Can we come back to this? You're teaching her how to do the same. This creates a safe emotional climate for her to open up. So try this. Use deep breathing before confronting her. Maybe ask open-ended questions. Can you help me understand what happened? And then avoid sarcasm. I know as much as you want to use it. Avoid sarcasm, blame, and loaded language, right? They can't decipher through that. It's going to shut them down even more. And number 3, which is my favorite and what we do in Talk to Your Teen Girl, is coach. Coach. Don't just correct. Think long term. You're not just correcting a behavior, you're coaching her into adulthood. Help her process what happened, why it happened, what can she do next time. When she feels like you're on her side and really want to help her move forward and move past this mistake, even when she's in trouble, she's more likely to open up over time. Okay, she doesn't need to hide in shame and blame, but to step over it to move forward and actually become more vulnerable. You can say like, you're not in trouble because you're a bad person. Gosh, that's so important. You're not in trouble because you're a bad person. We all make mistakes. So do I. So let's figure out what this can teach you and have that conversation. So mama, the shutdown isn't rejection. It's a signal. Your daughter is overwhelmed. She's scared. She's ashamed. She's unsure of how to engage with you. But with patience and emotional safety and also wise leadership from you, you can help her feel safe enough to come back to you even when she's scared. You don't have to be perfect. Just be present, be patient, and really stay connected. Are you ready to be equipped with tactical steps that do that? And if you are, let's do this together. I want you to head on over to talktoyourteengirl.com where you'll find the solution you are looking for. That's talktoyourteengirl.com. Go now. Hey friend, if this podcast inspired you or encouraged you or helped you in any way, I'd love for you to share it. You can screenshot this episode and share it in your stories on social media or text it to a friend who can use the support. It's the best way you can thank me. I want to let other mamas know they are not alone. I'd love to stay connected with you. You can find me at raisingherconfidently.com. Until next time, live full of grace, Jeannie.